Hey everyone, Boy Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. And today we are doing a little bit of a slight detour on this channel, talking about some prime time streamer drama. Though I do promise I think this is at least a little bit connected to the music world, given that it involves one PlaqueBoyMax, not just a very successful streamer in his own right, but also a music producer, a Grammy-nominated producer at that. And while there has been a lot of debate around Max's legitimacy in the music space in terms of how good his music is and how he entered into the music industry and how long he's going to last, the guy is clearly going nowhere anytime soon, and he's only trying to push even further into his own potential solo career, and was even on stage at Rolling Loud not too long ago performing. Now, as a part of putting himself out there more as a solo artist, of course, Max has been reinventing himself a little bit. And if you're somebody who is, normal, you see some of the stuff he's been doing to kind of, put a new spin on the way he is perceived in the world, putting a diva tattoo on his ribcage, wearing a wig. Yeah, you see this stuff in 2026, post an era in the 2010s when you had artists who were out here wearing dresses, wearing their hair long, even figures like Lil Uzi Vert not too long ago put it out into the world that they preferred to go by they, them pronouns. If you can easily recall all of this recent context and history, PlaqueBoyMax doing these things is honestly pretty non-controversial, really tip of the iceberg stuff when it comes to reinventing yourself and playing with gender a little bit. However, there are some fans in Max's audience, individuals in the hip-hop space, and of course the streaming space, that have not been quite as forgiving about this behavior. Which brings me to this clip of Max, unfortunately, in a very embarrassing display, getting pressed by OJ Suave at a streamer university event, where he starts telling Max that he's concerned for the way that he's kind of moving in the world, overemphasizing this persona as a means of getting clicks and attention. But then it starts to get really weird, really awkward, and really dark really quick.
You're a diva. Why you want to be a diva? Why you want to be a diva? You're a demon. You need holy oil, right? You need to sit down in the holy oil. You need to go get a church bath and cleanse your body, right? I think you are confused. I think you need some guidance. I think your parents feel a little way about that. I think you're clip farming and you're getting your clips. You pushing the persona. You smart. You loyal. I know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You've been at this. But you are not a diva. Divas bend over. I don't think you're bent over. You're not the little boys in Clover. You're not Tota. You're not a diva. You are a grown man. PlaqueBoyMax, not PlaqueBoyBati, not PlaqueBoy Are you gonna tell your son that you are a diva? Daddy, what's diva? Hey, get the fuck out of here! That is an abomination, Max. I am not proud of you.
I feel really bad for Max there, like to be put in that position is insane. And working through all of these different accusations, it's one thing, I think, to observe somebody kind of growing their platform and getting more famous from the outside and maybe observing that, like, okay, maybe you're getting lost in the fame a little bit and I should say something or give you a bit of a nudge or have a check-in, possibly privately, just to make sure you are still there and you still have some self-awareness and you're down to earth. That kind of conversation, that kind of dialogue, I think is completely understandable, totally normal, not out of line in any way. But this OJ guy is obviously very much not doing that. He's putting on a show here, desperately trying to get a clip in front of the cameras rolling, and starts to overinflate this wearing of a wig and this diva tattoo into something that Max's parents need to be concerned about, that his future hypothetical children need to be worried about. He needs to be worried about Max's sexuality on top of that, because what is a diva? And then on top of all of that, to make a Diddy comparison? A Diddy comparison? As if tattooing yourself with the word diva or possibly being gay, maybe bisexual, is on the same level as being like a sexual and physical abuser and sex trafficker, having these crazy freak off parties where who the hell knows what the hell is going on. To treat those things as if they are the same thing, you have to have completely lost your mind, which this dude very clearly obviously has just by the look of him, because it's hilarious that he's approaching Max in this context to press him about the way he's presenting himself to the world, how confused he must be. How are you going to make Max feel bad about the way he dresses and what he has on his skin when you look like a randomized Sims character? You look like you were in a cyberpunk rave in the 80s and then the back rooms misremembered you. It's crazy because this dude's fit, his whole look, his whole energy would easily get him pressed in the same exact way in certain contexts. Like, there are tons of spaces in the 90s or the 2000s or even today, if he were dressed exactly like this, he would have dudes coming up to him being like, what the fuck are you wearing? And before we get to Max's words on all of this, again, this is also weird and concerning and just oddly regressive. Not only is this man completely oblivious to how weird he looks in comparison to Max in this moment and how flamboyant his outfits are in comparison to the norm, but this viewpoint acts in complete ignorance to the past 10-15 years of popular fashion and culture, especially with respect to queer people in fashion, and is a total violation of respect toward people who just want to live their own lives how they want to live them, in terms of how they dress, whatever tattoos they want to get, their sexuality, etc. It's just so hilarious to me to see somebody who is trying to be so eccentric, so outlandish, so desperate to get attention by looking a fool, and yet you want to make other people feel as insecure as you do by throwing your jock meathead opinions at them because in your view, they're not acting normal according to you. So as soon as PlaqueBoyMax kind of got a sense of how ridiculous this non-dialogue that was happening was, he kind of hightailed it out of that situation, and had some thoughts in the immediate aftermath of this. Here are some of those.
So the reason I turned the camera back on is because I want to be real with y'all. I don't give a fuck what's wrong with being gay. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. Y'all niggas is white, you're corny, and you just think how the next nigga think. You don't have your own mind, bro. Shout out that nigga Wardrobe, because Wardrobe's himself, bro. No matter what anyone say, and they hate on that little nigga, but you're a genius, bro. He's super smart, he's funny, I'll fuck with him, he's cool. He might joke, but he would never disrespect me. Niggas coming up to me saying, yo, bro, are you scared Wardrobe gonna touch you in the night? No, nigga, he's a person, bro. He's a fucking human, bro.
And he also had some things to say on stream the following day as well, I believe, and we have a clip of that too.
Why can't we just uplift each other? It's joking, and then it's, damn, you attacking my character when every day niggas is telling me to kill myself because I'm putting on a wig. And you know what that type of shit shows me? Damn. Imagine what LGBTQ been going through for years, bro. Just because I put on a wig. That's how I choose to portray myself. Why kick me down and compare me to somebody who has harassed and harmed people in the real world when all I do is spread love, positivity? I don't believe you for bad. I don't want to have a conversation with you because if you didn't get this backlash, you wouldn't feel bad. If the comments were like most of any comments to any other video talking about me, which is, yeah, this Max nigga, he's on the loose end, he pushing weird shit to kids, he's an oddball. So no thanks, bro. I wouldn't like to have a convo with you. But I don't wish any ill will on anybody, and I wish you the best in your journey and your success. And I don't wish any hate on OJ because he doesn't deserve that. He's a human being just like me. We're all finding our way.
there you have that. And sure, while it is true, you could make the argument that what Max is saying in terms of like how LGBTQ people must feel getting pressed in a similar way, and that observation being pretty plainly obvious, I think this whole discourse is a sign, again, of how much we have regressed at this point in some aspects. Because this is not a conversation we should have to be having again in 2026. It's weird how many people are just like not on the same page right now, and how everyone's just like segmented off into their own closed-minded, stupid ideas. And someone can't, I don't know, call themselves a diva without making some insecure idiot feel some type of way. At the end of the day, I hope PlaqueBoyMax doesn't like feel weird about any of this stuff long term, and that this doesn't stop him from sort of defining his music career and himself in whatever way that he wants. Because truth be told, as awkward as that moment was, OJ kind of got mogged there. PlaqueBoyMax wasn't doing anything other than just like standing there looking completely normal and sensible. Meanwhile, this OJ guy, his cortisol levels were spiked. Let's be honest. Let me know if yours are in the comments. I'm sure you will. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, PlaqueBoyMax, forever.